I'm Brian Hamilton.
And I'm Matt Diamond. Welcome back to another episode of The Secret Stash. Today we come to you from Curtis at one of our very favorite spots, The Bitmore, to introduce you to some local talent here in Durham.
On this episode of The Secret Stash, we're going to take you to the bluesy basement of Anthony Howell. Then, we're going to share a very special event with you and our good friend Patrick Dorie.
That's right. First we'll meet Anthony on his turf to talk about his music for an interview and a performance. And then we'll take you to the historic site of the Regent Theatre in Oshawa to celebrate Patrick's release of his brand new album, Goodbye Expectations.
But before we take you to the region, we're going to take you to a cool neighborhood in North Oshawa to meet Anthony Howell. He's a local singer-songwriter who has an insatiable appetite for blues-driven rock and roll.
I remember meeting Anthony for the first time maybe 3 or 4 years ago when he first started playing out in bars. And the thing that really got me into his music was his articulate guitar playing and the way that he can tell a story within a song.
Let's go get to know Anthony Howell.
She awoke, hardly sober, to an inquisition with a friend she knew run off to. Barely made her way to the kitchen sink to wash her sticky eyelids. It all seemed so beguiling, beguiling. Blood is thinner than the darkness that fell upon her conscience. How will she reconcile? So yeah, prepare for the chilly air to pass on through her red lips. Try to believe her excuses, excuses. Hey. It was so serene, this beauty queen bestowed herself upon them, oblivious and wanted. Seems this beauty queen was wanted more than just by men in their town. Seems the OBP had a warrant out, sweet Miss Jane Marie. Sweet Miss Jane Marie. She was just a kid with a fragile mind, emotions running high. Never had she seen a man with eyes that kill. She fell upon her knees, took her to his house, and that was it. Her mother said in tears, never would she see a little girl the same again. Man was violent with a cocaine bin and an eye for talent. He could hold the strings and make her feel like she wasn't worth anything. So her fragile mind was twisted around his dirty finger. Seems he had a rival that needed to be taught a lesson. That's where I come in. That's where I come in. As a coward would he hid behind her dirty finger. So she shot the boy that scared that man, and that was that. Oh, sweet Jane Marie. Oh, sweet Jane Marie. You didn't know where to begin. You didn't know what to say to them. Oh, sweet Jane Marie. As I lay bleeding out, I never blame you. All I wish is that you never left.
Tell me about your earliest musical memory.
Well, I don't know if this is my earliest musical experience is when I was a little kid. There with the Boss America drum kit and the Fisher Price setup. It was one of my first endeavor into music, I suppose. I don't really have any memory of it, but at least I can look at it and I knew what I kind of wanted to do from the beginning. So.
When did you write your first song?
Oh geez, growing up I wasn't really into it, you know what I mean? Like I never really had like much, like music was always around me. Like I remember up at the cottage, like my folks would take me up there and we'd be, you know, they'd be drinking all night and listening to stuff like, you know, Merle Haggard and Don McLean and Ray Charles and all this stuff. And I learned all those lyrics because my uncle was sort of a call and response kind of guy. Like he'd sing the lyric before it would come up so that I could learn it, I guess. And so I grew up on that sort of like old kind of 60s, 70s country, like R&B kind of stuff, right? Which is really cool. But so I started, I don't know, I just always kind of remember like singing. Like since I can remember listening to music, I've always like loved to sing along to it, and it was sort of just like a natural thing for me. I never really thought like, okay, this is what I want to do. Like I'm gonna pick up a guitar and learn how to play the guitar. Because it wasn't until I was about 15 or 16 where a friend of mine, his little brother, sold me my first electric guitar. It was one of those like Sears Stratocaster kind of knockoffs or whatever, right? So I started on that, and then ended up getting an acoustic when I was around, I think I was 17 years old. So I started late, but it all kind of came at once. Like I sort of already had like the love for it, I guess. And then my first song I probably wrote, like once I learned how to figure out chords and learn how to sing and play, which was about 6 months in from when I got my first acoustic or whatever. I started writing stuff. But it was late. It was late on in my life, because a lot of kids are brought up to like play piano or do this or do that, and I was never really pushed into it. I kind of always had a love for it and just kind of found it on my own.
Where I learned to drink alone, nobody knows, nobody knows. When I thought I was alone, there you were, there you were. When I need a quick revival to pick me up again and again, well again and again and again. Sun is shining through my glass, beautiful, beautiful. This emptiness can never last, fills me up, fill her up. When I need a quick revival to pick me up again and again, well again and again. Not a question of survival, it's just about letting go, whoa, letting go, whoa, letting go. And all the time that I'd spent awake in a dusty, drunken haze, calling you on the phone. Hey, it's not like I'm even ashamed, wouldn't trade that girl for all of the jack in the world. No, 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 no. When I need a quick revival to pick me up again and again, well again and again. It's not a question of survival, it's just about letting go, whoa, letting go, whoa, letting go, whoa, letting go.
So here we are, we're standing out front of the Bitmore in Curtis with one of my good friends, Darby, who also happens to be one of the owners here at the Bitmore. What can you tell me, what does the Bitmore do for the music community here in Durham?
It's not so much what I'm doing for the music community here, but it's what the music community is doing for me here. We've been open now just over 5 years, and we've done live music every week since we've opened. And what's become a real benefit to us is just how much quality music and quality talent there is in Durham region right now, and especially in this area. It's just been a boon to us to have the guys come in, and people are getting a consistent product every week. People are really enjoying the shows. It's just excellent. It's not what you'd expect. It's not the traditional pub music. There's guys that are actually going out there and doing their own thing and really giving their all and making it happen for us.
Thanks so much for talking with us today, Darby.
All right, my pleasure.
Cheers.
I remember first seeing Tony at the Regent. Do you remember when Nate had those last couple nights at the Regent? And we went up, it was this crazy eclectic bill because Nate just filled it with whoever wanted to play the Regent. And Tony played by himself and had his double stack Orange. He brought it out for just one song, which I thought was complete overkill, but made me like the guy at the same time. Who's that? Played acoustic all night, brings the big double stack out for one song. That was pretty, that to me is Tony all rolled up. He'll roll out the whole red carpet for you know, a show in front of 20 people in the Regent Theatre.
Patrick Dorie at Goodbye Expectations. You can't beat it. It's an amazing album. Patrick is a very fine songwriter. The album doesn't disappoint on any level at all. If you like just good songs, it's full of that, great lyrics, and the instrumentation on it is like of the highest caliber. You couldn't ask for more. I met Patrick when he was doing just like an open mic in Whitby, and I was completely blown away. Actually, I heard him for the first time play Hope in High Places, and I couldn't believe it was his song, and I completely fell in love with Patrick and his music, where, I mean, he was really able to shine his colors in a beautiful theater. So
I was lucky enough to shoot Patrick Dorie during his CD release show while the Secret Stash was going on. So it was a really cool kind of combination to work with, to capture that behind the scenes creation of his work and start to learn a little bit more of the stories on how the album was created, and just his style and his feel and the way he approaches songwriting and music in general. The show was amazing. Sold out crowd. It was so cool to see, you know, a bunch of friends out to support him, but also bring new people and, you know, people who had never really heard about Patrick to come out and support him in that way. And it just shows that, you know, the city is growing around the art and you know, starting to support the grassroots art and music that we have.
So my first meeting with Patrick Dorie and my first experience with, he came into an open mic that we were running in Whitby, and he came in with another guitar player and started playing old Bob Dylan songs, and it was funny because even at that point I think he was only 17 years old or something like that. But it was funny because he came in and started playing his guitar, and then it was that with the record, you know, thing happened, and so it was never about you know, it was never about his music or his writing at that point. It was just like, man, this kid sounds like, you know, old or vintage or throwback or something, whatever, but he has this clever sense of timing and a weird way to play, but he was playing all cover songs. And then as he sort of developed into his older years of 18 and 19, then he started writing these songs which were just completely undeniably great. And at that point it was like, he needs to be recorded, and you know, we just tried to find a way. But I mean, it's amazing because he can captivate an audience, whether there's two people or whether it's in a room, and he fills their whole room with his big voice, and you know, it's amazing. Or he can play, I'm sure, you know, a huge festival or a big arena, whatever, and still fill it with just him and a guitar. And yeah, I mean, I'm just a fan. I'm more of a fan than I am anything else. I'm hoping that he gets a world-class shot at it because he's world-class talent. But yeah, who knows? I mean, it's almost like one of those things that you wanna hide and keep to yourself and have this gem that you sort of, you know, have, you know, just as you and your friends can geek out to, and when you show other people, they're freaking out, you know, like that rare thing, whatever, and then you keep it back to yourself, whatever, but at the same time, you know, you kind of want to put it out there as well, so it's amazing.
Next up, we're going to give you an exclusive look at the party of the year. We were so excited to be a part of Patrick Dorie's CD release party for his album, Goodbye Expectations.
This event at the Regent really felt like a victory for all of us. If you're from the Durham region, you probably know Patrick's name, but this album has been a little while in the making, really. Tonight, we got to celebrate that with over 600 people at the Regent Theatre.
Patrick was joined by his fantastic backup band, and there was an amazing performance by the Stellas to open up the show. First, we're going to take you backstage for an intimate performance and interview. Then we're going to take you front row center for the best seats in the house at the Regent Theatre.
Let's celebrate Patrick's brand new album, Goodbye Expectations.
kids are staying with your parents for a while. The neighbors are doing us favors, and you're doing favors for the neighbor's husband. I will impress you, undress you, make a mess out of you. I'll sit back and relax as I'm under attack. This is all your fault. Aberdeen, the medical supplies ran out with the power. The cops were called to put out our marital blaze. This is just a phase, but it did not faze you when they locked me away. I will impress you, undress you, make a mess out of you. I'll sit back and relax as you lose your shit. This is all your fault. You say all the money in the world doesn't matter. Our bond is bigger, born back in the pain. Aberdeen, I guess you have to conquer. I can never tell when you're telling the truth. No, I can never tell when I'm gonna lose it. You lied to me, and then you lied next to me. You're breathing heavily as this pillow stops you from cheating again. Aberdeen, I guess you have to never tell when you're telling the truth. No, I can never tell when I'm gonna lose it.
Thank you.
Welcome to a very special edition of the Secret Stash today. Tonight, big show for my good friend Patrick Dorie right here. It's a CD release, and it's been a long time in the making. We've been talking about doing this session with you for a long time, but I think now it's a pretty good excuse to do it. We're here at the Regent, which is it's a pretty special landmark here in Oshawa, especially for people who have been here or who are from here. What does playing at this venue mean to you tonight?
Well, it means a lot to me because I wanted a place that was special to play my CD release show at, and we kind of went through a bunch of venues, and Pete Monroe called me up and asked me, you know, where do you want to play? And I said the Regent, but I think that's going to be hard to get, so I listed off a couple of other places. Then he asked me again, he goes, where do you want to do your CD release show? And he goes, just tell me where you want it to be. And I said, the Regent Theater.
Pete Monroe hooked it up.
Yep. And then within a week or two later, he goes, I got it. So it's persistent Pete for you.
He made it happen. Lots of family and friends here. Of course, you can hear maybe the band tuning up. What can you tell me about the band who's playing with you tonight?
Tonight we have Dan Brooks on drums. We have Dan Licio playing bass. Brendan Lawless doing lead guitars. Brad Stella is going to do some backup vocals and piano. Maryland's going to do some backup vocals and trumpet. And Andrew Ivins is going to do some backups and trumpet as well.
Beautiful.
And I'm very excited about that lineup because not only are they all individually great, like special musicians, they're also all good friends of mine.
We've all kind of been on this, we'll call it a journey with you, you know, from the inception of the record. You mentioned Brad and Mary Lynn, who are of course the Stellas. They've been a really huge success story, going to Nashville, putting out a record, touring with Johnny Reed. They've been pretty, you know, pardon the pun, instrumental in this, you know, putting this record together. They're also doing the opening duties. What can you tell me about some of the people that have been involved with doing this record?
Well, for the most part, like, it started off with Brad Stella and I, and then we brought in Greg Peach, who's the engineer. And between the three of us, I think we created something very special because we just fed off of each other, and we all had completely different ideas. And you know, I would get a little carried away with some crazy noises, and they'd still use them, but bring them back down a little bit to tolerable. And then they would go crazy with the Beatles harmonies, and I'd bring them back down to 2008 through 10.
Yeah.
And no, it's just we worked well together and brought in some more musicians to work on the album. Bill King plays drums, and had a couple of string players from down south in the States play on the album. But along the way, it's just been a journey with friends too, like yourself and Brooks and Licio and everybody else, just, you know, motivating me. And
that's what I was going to say, is that it almost feels like an accomplishment for all of us, really. You know?
It is. It definitely is, because, you know, those of you who know me, you might not notice, but I could be slightly moody. And you guys all helped me get through this, because I had my days where all I needed were friends to tell me to cheer up and tell me I'm an idiot.
Broken on the outskirts like an old bus, rusted engine that was pushed too much. You were pushed too much, but not enough. Your heart was tangled in a web of lies. Smile that you despise. It's a picture of you when you were you. If
That was fun, wasn't it? Thank you. Thank you so much for coming out.